Other news of note, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, just hopping on my channel here, as you'll know, Graham McTavish, who played the dwarf Dwalin in the Hobbit trilogy, he was cast as a member of the Kingsguard, Harrold Westerling. He's the old, veteran, honorable Lord Commander, the leader of the Kingsguard at the beginning of the story. He's this old man who, in his youth, he lived through a lot of wars, but he lived too long, and he's in this decadent era of peace where the Targaryens are turning on each other because they're squabbling over the throne. But he's this really honorable guy. And that's from the books. And the thing is, Harrold Westerling dies of old age relatively early in the story. He isn't alive for the actual Civil War. That Rhaenyra's father reigns for almost 30 years, and he dies about halfway through it. It doesn't even mention specifically how he dies, just apparently he was an old man. He died of old age. So I thought Graham McTavish would just be in Season 1, that when I've mentioned this to the OneRing.net and stuff, it's nice to have him for a season on this. We can now pretty much tell from leaks coming out and even images from the teaser trailer, they have merged Harrold Westerling with another character on the Kingsguard, and he will be alive for like 4 to 5 seasons on this show. He will be a major ongoing character. And, there's the argument of, sometimes when you cast a really big name, their schedule is so busy they can only be in one season. Other times you go, we cast a really big name, let's get our use out of him, let's use him for multiple seasons. And there's a lot of Kingsguard, so it's actually I think it's a good idea to merge some of them. That's unavoidable. I hope they don't invent too much, but it's a different character, you have to merge certain things. In Lord of the Rings terms, this is sort of like hearing that someone was cast as the elf Glorfindel, and then realizing that while they're calling him Glorfindel, he has been merged with Legolas. Maybe not as big of a Legolas, maybe like a Haldir scale character, where no, he isn't just a one-shot character, he's going to be in quite a bit of this. But they merged him with someone else, so he's going to be alive. I mentioned the teaser trailer that when we freeze-frame the shot on adult Alicent, we could tell, but that's Graham McTavish behind her, Harrold Westerling. By the time Alicent is after the time skip, he had died of old age by then. Why is he still alive in this shot? Back when the teaser came out, that generated a lot of discussion. And all of the spy reports we're getting are that no, he is alive in the season finale. He doesn't die of old age, and that they merged him with another Kingsguard, and he will be on this show for 4 to 5 years. Assuming it runs, I'm assuming, let me think, at least 4 seasons, depending on how they break it up. But he isn't just going to die of old age in Season 1. He's going to be a major ongoing character, which is news. The other thing is they just announced this week who's playing the leader of the other faction in the Civil War. Well, on the one side, there's Rhaenyra, and on the other side, there's her stepmother, Alicent, along with Alicent's son, Rhaenyra's half-brother, Aegon II. And they just announced his casting. We'd heard about it in rumors for a long time. It's Tom Glencarney, who Lord of the Rings fans may remember as the Tolkien biopic movie that came out a few years ago about the real-life Tolkien and everything. Tom Glencarney played the adult Christopher Wiseman of his circle of friends at Oxford. He was the only one of his inner circle of friends who survived World War I. So if you read all the background stuff by Tom Shippey of how important Christopher Wiseman was, that was Tom Glencarney in that movie. And we have rumors even that before the time skip in Season 1, young Aegon II will be played by the actor who played young Christopher Wiseman, Ty Tennant. Because, casting directors have already decided he looks like a young Tom Glencarney. So Christopher Wiseman from the Tolkien movie has been cast as Rhaenyra's stepbrother from the other side of the Civil War, who's crowned himself king actually he was crowned by Kristen Cole, but everything's falling in place there. I hope we get other Lord of the Rings Hobbit actors on the show over the course of its run over a couple of years. We'll see how that turns out, but Harrold Westerling, Graham McTavish is not a guest star in Season 1. He will be on this for a couple of years. even though the man is a Blackfire supporter. He's with the Jacobites on Outlander and stuff, but fair enough. But point of this video is just to share, we already knew that episode 3 is the large-scale battle episode of the season. Looked at my calendar and realized that's why they're premiering season 1 when they're premiering it. They want the huge big battle in episode 3 to hook back the audience. So that unlike Game of Thrones, it's due to the structure of the books, it was so weird when people thought, oh, why aren't there dragon battles in this in season 1? Or even in season 2, they were like, why isn't Daenerys immediately going back to Westeros in season 2? Well, that's the same kind of person who I remember when Fellowship of the Ring came out in theaters and people were annoyed that they didn't defeat Sauron in the first movie. That you understand this is a series and that's the big bad of the overall story arc. Harry Potter movies, I didn't expect them to defeat Voldemort in literally the first movie. Like, that's an ongoing storyline. It's so weird when people react like that do you understand what a franchise is? Star Wars was already a thing. You understand multi-movie franchises. But so many people got impatient that, why aren't we getting big dragon battles in season 2 with Daenerys going back to Westeros? It's a plot point that she doesn't have an army yet, and it takes years for dragons to grow to adult size. Even in the books, people are going, oh, you're taking too long, they're taking too long. And then the later seasons, they just made up nonsense storylines, but they were throwing dragon battles with a lot of CGI at the screen, so people who were impatient thought it was good in the moment, and then you turn around and realize this has no staying power because there's no story to it, it's just CGI. Well, unlike that, if people are going in this going, oh, they're going to tease out the Return of the Dragons, it starts when the Targaryens are at their height. It starts when there are 20 dragons. You will see people just riding dragons in peacetime in episode 1. And you will see a big battle scene with a dragon, Caraxes burning things, by the 3rd episode. You don't even have to wait until late in the first season. For all those impatient people who are going, they always make me wait for next season. Why I can't even wait for the 9th or 10th episode? Okay, it's in the 3rd episode. It's right there, up in front. Here's all your spectacle. Now can we focus on the human drama of these characters, of this family drama, of these rival branches of the Targaryen family, and how good people can be bad, how bad people can be good, and as George R. R. Martin cited from Faulkner, the human heart in conflict with itself. And also, I think the dragons are cool, and they promise that each one will have its own distinct personality, because in the books they have distinct personalities. That there's a difference between Caraxes, who's this huge war-capable one, and Moondancer, who's Bela's dragon. He's like they mentioned him by name in the recent press release. They mentioned her, actually, Moondancer, that she's a juvenile. She's, this young, kind of cute one. It's barely big enough to ride. I look forward to the dragons as characters that, whatever. So I think this is why the premiere is when it is, for the huge battle scene, and I really look forward to it in episode 3. Mark your calendars, it's September 4th, 2 days after Lord of the Rings.